Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I am Brittany, aka Beautifoles. For today's video, I wanted to show you how I went from this photo to the edited photo right here that you guys see on Instagram. So I am going through how I edit my photos every time I post them when I am in a studio type setting. My studio where I take my photos isn't always the best lit and doesn't always have the best lighting, but that's why I do what I can to adjust the photo to make it look like this. I really love how I've been editing my photos lately, and a bunch of you guys, when I posted this on my Instagram story, said that you wanted to see a tutorial. So here you go. If you want to see how I went from A to B, please keep on watching. And if you liked what you saw, you know the deal. Give it a big thumbs up below, subscribe below, comment below. If you have any requests for future videos, go ahead and leave that down in the comment section below as well. Let's get right into the video, and thank you so much for hanging out. Okay, so last week I posted this photo on my Instagram, and this is the before and the after, and I asked who would want to see a tutorial on how I got from point A to point B, and the response was unbelievable. So in this tutorial, I am going to show you guys how I edit my photos from the very beginning until what you see on Instagram. Okay, so first things first, these are my photography little editing apps right here, and I am going to open up Facetune. It is very rare that I post any photo without Facetuning it in any way. So I am going to open photo. This is the photo that I am going to use. It's the same photo that I used for that before and after. And the first thing I ever do is I take the whitening tool and I brush along the backdrop just to really brighten it up. So my lighting where I film and where I take my photos isn't always the best. And so I find that just whitening up the background really allows me to have a more cohesive feed and allows my photos to really pop. So you don't have to be too careful. It's okay if you get it on the skin. I just want the background to be as bright as possible. This is the only step that I'm going to take my finger and actually brush along with. So before and after, you can just see how much brighter the background looks. So over here, I did get it on my skin, so I'm going to take the eraser tool and just go right up against that. And I just like to go right around the perimeters. And then we'll go before and after. Still a little bit on my ear. Erase tool. So right away it just gives it such a more professional look. So now I'm going to click the check mark, and now I'm ready for my next step. Next, I'm going to look around my face and see if I have any blemishes that need to be covered up. And I do have this one on my chin. So I take the patch tool. Now before and after. Voila, no more blemishes. So now what I like to do is take the smooth feature, zoom in on my face, and I just brush very lightly in areas where I might have a little bit of texture. I like to tap too, just so that it looks flawless, but it doesn't look fake, if that makes sense. Check, done with that step. So before and after, you could see that the biggest difference is really just that background. So now, excuse my mascara in this photo, it's not the best, but I'm going to click on the tones button. So the tones, I like to just go right against my lash line to make my lashes look a little bit darker and more full. So I use the picker tool and I go against the darkest part of the lash line. I like to zoom in as much as possible. And then I click the tones brush. And I just really lightly brush right on top of the lash line. So now when I click the before and after button, you can see that some of it got onto my eyeball and a little bit on my lid. I'm going to use that eraser tool to just clean it up. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This side isn't as bad, but picker, the darkest tone, go right up against the lash line. Take the eraser tool and clean up. Cool. Now what I like to do is I press the details one and I just tap each eyeball twice just to bring out a little bit of detail in each eye. So that's all I do on Facetune. I don't really adjust the shape of my face or any of my features like that. I just use it to kind of make the photo look a little bit more professional. That's the before and after for this app. So I am going to save to camera roll, and then I'm going to go into my next app. Now I am going to open up Lightroom on my phone. So the photo that we just edited in Facetune is already there. I'm going to click on it. So I already have presets created. I use this studio preset as my main one, and you'll see before, and after. So I'm gonna choose this studio preset because this is one that I made myself, and then I'm going to adjust from there. But anytime I take a photo in my little studio setup, this is the preset that I use. So just going through all of the different settings so that you guys can follow along. Light, the exposure is set to 0.20. The contrast is -23. Highlights is +15. Shadows is -9. Whites is +4. And blacks is -16. Now keep in mind, I do have a curve slightly adjusted. So I was just playing around with this honestly to see what I liked the best, but this is what my curve looks like. If you guys want to try to adjust your curve to look similar, I'll click on the different ones. So right now that last button is pressed. The red, green, and blue one is just straight. The red one's just straight. The green one's just straight. The blue one's just straight. So the only one that I really played with is this last one right here. So now color. This is where we get fun and we can really adjust the various colors and bring out the different tones in the photo. So I have temperature set to +1, tint set to +1, vibrance set to +16, and saturation set to +10. Now, one of my favorite parts about this app is that you can actually choose colors and bring out different colors more or less, or change the hue of them. So right now my red, the hue is set to -11, the saturation is set to +3, and the luminance is set to -21. The orange is set to -9, -11, and then -8. The yellow is set to -62, -12, -11. The green, so I do have green in this photo, and it's that eyeliner right there. So although this is my original preset, I am going to actually bring down the luminance so that I can see it more, and bring up the saturation so that the green pops. Did you guys see how that like adjusted right here? And it just makes that green color look so much brighter. So now, same thing with the blue. This blue in my eyes, although it looks great, it's a little too icy for me, and that's not really what my eyes look like. So I'm gonna take the luminance down a little bit and the saturation up a little bit. Same thing with this next color. I'm gonna bring the saturation up a little bit. This way it just gives the photo a more realistic look. And then these two are exactly, I don't have to really touch them. I rarely have any photos unless I'm using a colorful eyeshadow that include these two more violet and indigo colors. I will list all of my settings down below so that you guys can go off of this, but please keep in mind that this setting won't work for some of my photos that are outside and vice versa, just because the lighting and the colors in every photo are so different, but this just happens to work every time in my studio because the lighting is always the same. So now as far as effects go, I have Dehaze set to 1, Vignette set to 2, and then everything else is just left. I don't really like grain on these photos because I want you to be able to see the detail. Speaking of detail, we're gonna move over, and I always sharpen my photos a little bit. And then I always pull the masking thing up to about 14. I don't really know why or what exactly it does, but I do end up liking it. Noise reduction is just kind of smoothing things over a little bit. And then the color noise reduction. So if you have colors that are next to each other that aren't really meshing, it kind of blurs those colors together. Now, optics, I don't touch. Geometry, I don't touch. And then the presets is back to where we were. So this is the final look. I'll zoom in too so that you guys can see. See how it really just brightens everything up? And I didn't change anything besides for the colors and the tones in the photo. So after that, I will save to my camera roll, maximum available, and then it is ready for Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. If you liked what you saw, you know the deal. Give it a big thumbs up below, subscribe below, comment below. If you have any requests for future videos, go ahead and leave that down in the comment section below as well. That's about it. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you edit any of your photos like how I just showed you in the video, be sure to DM them to me on Instagram. I will post them on my story to show everyone how great and how easy and how simple this really was. So thank you so much for watching. If you want, you can also DM me some of your photos and I will try to edit them for you as well once I get a chance. Thank you so much for hanging out. Love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.